Hello and welcome to the In Spite of Everything podcast. I'm Yael Dooley, and what is a Discord server? And why should you care? Well, today we'll get the answers to those questions and more. Our guest today founded the unofficial Construct Discord server just over 3 years ago. If you're already familiar with the Construct Discord server, you may already be familiar with his work developing Electron for Construct. He is a French student currently attending a tech school in Canada who has been programming for just under 9 years and is mastering web technologies. Joining us today from Canada is Quentin Goinaud. Goinaud. I hacked that.
I wasn't ready.
I hacked that. How do I say it again? Goinaud. Goinaud.
Yeah.
Welcome to the podcast, Quentin.
Hello.
Glad to have you. You are the third guest in a row from France.
Yeah.
I think I've unlocked an achievement. You mentioned you're going to school in Canada. Why Canada?
Because it's in France, as you mentioned, my school, for the first year, I had to go 1 year at a university in another country, and I was attracted by Canada. So
Canada's great. I mean, I've only been to Toronto, but I don't think I've ever met a Canadian I didn't like.
Yeah.
That says something about the country.
Very cool, but also cold.
Oh, is it cold right now?
No.
It's probably
We're
better
at,
now.
0.
It's 0 outside?
Yeah.
Sorry, man. You're almost out of it. Spring started.
It's not really that cold.
Can you share with us a classic game that you still hold dear to your heart?
Oh, not really a hardcore player, and so I don't have played a lot of games.
Oh,
Yeah.
You didn't play games as a child?
I was a lot into school, and my parents didn't allow me to play a lot.
Gotcha. But what about when you first were introduced to games?
I think that's funny, but instead of playing games, I started with, I'm sure you know, RPG Maker.
Oh, yeah.
And I just started making them.
Wow. So you're an RPG fan. At the very least, you prefer maybe story-driven? Or is it just, you just like the look of it? You like the mechanics of it?
I was pretty young when I started, and since I didn't play it a lot, I think I didn't realize how to say that, the different mechanics of a game. So I just started with RPG Maker, and I was trying to do everything in it, not just RPG.
Oh, you were trying to do other genres in RPG Maker?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Pushing the engine to its limit.
Ah, that's pretty cool. That's almost cooler than having just played a bunch of games growing up.
At the beginning, I was pretty limited because preset events were only made for RPG, of course.
Yeah.
And I had to do some Ruby, and at that time I didn't know enough programming.
Yeah. That's really cool, though. That's a pretty cool backstory. That actually kind of says a little bit about why you started the Discord server. So for those of us who aren't familiar with Discord, what is it and why should we use it?
It's a modern software to chat with your friends, mostly game-oriented. You can have great communities, mostly like forums, but the big advantage is that it's in real time.
Yeah. It took me a little bit to, I guess, I'm still getting used to it a little bit. I know that there's certain rules and things that are posted for different sections, and I'm trying to obey them and not be a jerk. I've noticed you can direct message people. Unlike Facebook, where it'll block you or block your message if you don't know the person. So it's sort of good in that way, but I could see how maybe that could be bad. If you don't want to be bothered, people can just reach out to you. But in what ways would you think this is maybe more beneficial than joining a forum?
As we always said, it's not a replacement.
Yeah.
It's an alternative. Because you will never replace the forum.
Yeah.
It's just for people like me that don't like to wait forever for an answer. If there are people around, they will answer your question, and that's it.
Yeah. It's maybe like going to the library versus being in a book club.
Yeah.
But it's more than being in a club or something, but everyone has a lot of knowledge, and most people are pretty willing to help you, which is really nice.
Yeah.
And a lot of people give constructive feedback, and I feel like that's priceless. It's great that there's so many people so passionate all in one place.
Yeah. The downside of this is that unlike the forum, it's not persistent.
And what do you mean?
Once you get a lot of message, they will just disappear into the feed.
Yeah. That is a little weird. You can still search back. Yeah, but I know what you're saying. It's like, it kind of
disappears.
disappears
On the forum.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's good and bad. Yeah, I agree with that. But it does feel like every time you go to check, there's something new to look at. And if there's a topic that you're not interested in, 20 minutes later, it might be something else people are talking about.
And you can, of course, start your own.
Right. So that's another thing, too. I don't know if I fully understand that part. I know that people are playtesting and communicating through the Discord server, and that's how I actually came to it. So I was trying to figure out where people were finding playtesters, and some people were saying, well, you should find a Discord server that's, working with the software that you use, and maybe you can find more people like yourself. And that's how I found the Discord server. But I do notice that there isn't like a category for that. You sort of have to reach out to people still, maybe in, what is it called? Oh, goodness. It's called feedback.
Oh, yeah.
And I've noticed people sharing playable demos or whatever there, and people give feedback on it, which is great. But I'm not sure how I would start a separate thread. I mean, I guess I could start another one in that server. Can you add your own thread, or?
Yes, you can, but it's definitely not a good idea. Let's say everyone wants to create its own channel, it will be a mess.
Yeah.
So if you have if you are an important person, for example, like the Spriter developer, we can add a channel especially for that. But if you just want a channel for talking about your game, it's a bit difficult.
Gotcha. Okay. I was confused with Alfred's Corner. Alfred is just pushing information. It's a bot. It's not a person. So that's where I was like, who's this Alfred guy, and why has he got his own corner? Like I said, I'm still new to this. But it's so far it's been really great, and
you'll get used to it.
Yeah, it's great. And now I realize even at work, I just have it open all the time. I feel like if I don't need help, I'm helping somebody else or something. It's pretty nice. So people out there, if you're not on Discord, it's worth your time to get on it. I haven't delivered a game from start to finish yet, and I haven't had a reason to use Cocoon or applications that wrap or allow an executable file to be created.
It's like Cordova.
Yeah. I guess my question is, you're creating Electron for Construct.
Yeah.
And what is it? Why are you making this?
It's another wrapper. You know NW.js?
I actually don't. I know of it, but I haven't had to use it yet, so I'm a little unfamiliar with what that does. But I've heard it is an alternative, correct?
Yeah. So to start, by default, Construct export to NW.js to be able to play your game on desktop. So macOS, Windows, and Linux. And so NW.js is a wrapper that embeds Chromium to run your game as an HTML page, so you can run it anywhere on desktop. And Electron is like NW.js, but it's made by other people. These other people are GitHub.
Oh. And so is it open source? Is Electron open source?
Yeah, NW.js too.
Okay.
What I'm trying to say is that Electron, in my opinion, is backed by people. NW.js is backed by one person. Electron by the whole GitHub team. So we can expect more updates, more security fix,
Interesting. So is Electron just a whole completely different thing as far as the guts of it are different than NWJS.
Yeah.
So it's
They are
not something
both-
that can be improved on or changed. It's just they're two separate things.
Yeah, it's just an engine backed with Chromium, and that's it.
Okay. So I read somewhere that some people may feel that Electron is the future, and I don't know what that means. Does that just mean that does that just mean that it's not going to deprecate in the next 5 years?
Oh yeah, I guess.
Okay.
For me, the web is really the future, and being able to put any website to any platform, it's really that the future.
Gotcha. So this is an ongoing thing. You can use Electron now.
Yeah.
Is it something that's stable? Is it something that people trust already to use?
Electron or my implementation?
Your implementation.
Well, I'm going to release a new stable version like tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty stable. We've made a lot of tests with the community. Like the first version, there was a lot of boilerplate, complex things. And now you just it's a CLI tool. So you just open a command, type EFC preview, and you can preview your game. EFC build, and you build your game.
Where would people find that?
Currently only on Discord, but once it's really stable, I will advertise it
Gotcha.
in the forums.
So if I needed it, I would basically ask you, or it's posted somewhere with the link, or?
It's on my GitHub.
Okay. See, I'm still learning the Discord thing.
Yeah, no problem.
So if I go to your, profile, does it show
there is
your GitHub link or something?
No. Well, there is a dedicated channel, Electron for Construct, and on top of it, on top of the window, there is a description with all the links you need to have.
Oh, okay. Very cool. And you're releasing it tomorrow. Does that mean you're staying up all night to make sure that it's super smooth and buttery?
Well, I guess I said tomorrow. That will be in the next days. But yeah, hopefully tomorrow. It's already ready. Just need to switch branch.
Oh, great. Well, now I need to look it up more because I wasn't aware. But I see it all over the place. It's like Electron. There's even its own tab for it. So it's one of those things I need to start wrapping my head around, especially because now I'm about to be ready to do some testing on this stupid basketball game that I've been making. It's so silly. It's fun, but I need to test it, and I may even need to go through Electron.
Right.
So you said before too that you didn't really play a lot of games, and then when you did, it was sort of more like messing with RPG Maker and stretching that, and then you've made Electron for Construct that you're still working on. So in general, do you prefer to make development tools and plugins rather than prototypes?
Yeah. I really enjoy making tools for people. It's weird because I don't even use the tools myself.
It's satisfying though, probably, to know that you're helping people accomplish tasks.
Exactly.
That's very cool. So are you all invested in Electron for Construct? Are you also sort of working on other ideas right now that maybe you would like to share?
As a developer, I do already too much project at the same time.
Oh, so you're also doing other things on the side.
Yeah, not all things are related to Construct. Yeah, most of the time just making prototypes of things.
Can I ask what else you're working in other than Construct?
Node modules. Yeah, as always, pushing the limits. Like complex C++ modules.
Okay, you know multiple languages.
Yeah.
Can I ask which languages in particular you are familiar with?
Mostly C++ and web technologies.
Okay, so actually, when you're working with Electron, you're actually coding to make this tool, and I actually don't know what's under the hood of Construct as far as I know that you can export most of it to HTML5, but I don't know if it's JavaScript. What's under the hood?
Yeah.
Is it HTML or JavaScript?
It's both. You're not familiar with web development?
Not really. That's sort of the crazy part about Construct is that you don't really even need to know a lot of that. It's like a lot of it's already handled by the company, but I'm not very familiar with it.
Since Construct 3 is fully on the browser, it's just HTML to render the web pages, and all the logic is done using JavaScript.
You might be that guy. I see people in the forums that are constantly asking for people to make plugins for them, converting from C2 to C3. Is that common? Do people actually pull this off pretty frequently?
Yeah, since the main work as Kira has moved to C3, people are moving too.
People love their plugins. So it's good to have people like you that are willing to make new versions of them or push the limits. You've clearly been doing this for a while. You've been doing this for 8 to 9 years, I think you said. Do you have any development resources that you would like to share with our fellow constructors? Maybe websites or places of inspiration?
You mean in general?
Yeah.
Well, Stack Overflow.
Stack Overflow?
Yeah. It's like the biggest resource of answers to your questions.
It is. Yeah, and it's sort of broad. It's not like narrowed down to like construct or whatever. I actually just dealt with it last night for the first time because I'm trying to put in a leaderboard. And I was going through Stack Overflow trying to figure out why I was throwing errors constantly with my PHP files. So I'm probably going to be on Stack Overflow getting more familiar with that this weekend. I don't know if you're familiar with PHP.
I don't really like that.
Oh, it's terrible. I feel like it's hard enough there's all these weird rules with permissions and things. I'm probably overcomplicating it. I swear I followed the Construct 2 version verbatim and it's still not working. But it's probably just me being a dummy and overlooking something small. Your name on the Discord server is Armaldio?
Yeah.
Can I ask what that's short for? Is that French?
When I chose it, I literally typed everything on my keyboard and make it appear correct.
What? I don't know if I understood that.
You were asking me why this nickname?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just typed it on my keyboard.
You just made it up?
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have to make sense. Also, shout out to Mikhail Dev. He's been pointing me towards great people to talk to, so thank you, Mikhail Dev. It was good chatting with you. Thank you for spending your time with me. You're going back to France after your school, which is 1 year?
Yeah, it's in 2 months now.
Oh, in 2 months?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty soon. And when you go back, you're just going to do your own thing? You're going to be freelancing?
Yeah, I guess.
So people, if you need somebody in 2 months, Mr. Goinaud is ready to work. Thank you again.
Thank you too.
Thank you for listening to the In Spite of Everything podcast. If you have questions you'd like to ask on future podcasts, or if you know someone who would be an interesting guest, you can email me at isoepodcast@gmail.com and follow In Spite of Everything podcast on Twitter @ISOE podcast. And until next time, happy constructing.